Bible study. I want to invite everybody to find a seat.
I'm doing fine. I got just a wee tiny bruise, a little sore, but that was to be expected. But they said I had bruise all over. They didn't. Yeah.
Got a few others making their way in from the foyer. We have a couple of greeters that are oblivious. Doing their job really well. We want to welcome everyone this morning, and before we have our prayer, just a couple announcements. And if you could help fill in some details on any of this while we invite you to do so, if I don't state it correctly or give you as much information as maybe some of you know. First of all, we're kind of saddened that the Stones are headed back to Salem here in the next few days. We're hoping that they might be able to go to Pride Mountain. I think they have to get clearance on that because they weren't expecting it. That, I don't want to say that's going to be our last supper, but for a little while. That'll be our last dinner together anyway. So it's been a joy having you folks with us. We think of you often, and it's really a delight to have you see your faces. And in our prayers, we want to remember, first of all, Hija Holstein had very serious cancer surgery at Cleveland Clinic on Friday. Please keep her in your prayers. I do not have any first-hand updates unless anyone else does. We were encouraged to hear that I believe that Doug may have gone over to Stewart's and perhaps was asking about Burdette's situation, and then Charlene said that he thanked our congregation through Burdette. Charlene asked him to thank everybody for the cards and prayers. Doug, I think, mentioned that Hija keeps all the cards right under her bed. And then he shared personal information about their struggle together. And so it was a good sharing, and hopefully Hija will do well. Burdette Stewart was to have a port put in to begin chemotherapy on a every other week regimen. He's going to be doing that at the Hope Center right there in Howell on Route 46. And in the process of putting in the port, I think it got his heart jacked up a little bit, and they admitted him to the hospital. Shannon, Trudy, and Keith and Linda saw them last night, and Keith said he looked pretty good and was hoping to come home today. We were hoping that all would go well Friday and they could be here for Logan. Their grandson is one of our preachers this morning, but I don't think there's any way they're going to make it here today unless they got a real early dismissal and he's feeling real chipper. Also in our prayers, Jennifer Pickus, who is the niece to Brian and Sherry, is going to be having surgery in Rock Hill, South Carolina on Thursday, and Sherry is flying down that way to Charlotte on Wednesday. All right? She's having thyroid cancer surgery, and we ask that you keep her in your prayers. She's actually going to be studying medicine, so this is a little preview of what maybe the future holds for her in terms of caring for people. Deb Rossi is still struggling at home. Vic, can you give us an update?
Well, they really over-medicated her. Had to get her to a family doctor. She even had a seizure
same thing, that she was being adamant that I'm not taking all this stuff. And you know, sometimes we say, well, that's just being stubborn and not listening to the doctors, but sometimes we really do know our own bodies better than they do, and they have been known to mess up. So this has been a real struggle for Vic and all the family. Let's keep Debbie in our prayers. Trudy Wood got a biopsy report that was good. She won't need to be seen again by that doctor for a few months until winter time. And Nellie Trent went for a first consult. She'll be going back a couple more times before they do a scope cauterizing in her abdomen area. So please keep all of these in your prayers. Any others that we need to be aware of? Let's bow. Father, thank you for the night's rest. Thank you for all of your blessings. We're grateful for your love for us, for your caring for us in times of sickness and heartache. And we pray for all of these that have been mentioned this morning and many others. We do cast our burdens on you, knowing that you love us, that you care for us. Bless us today as we study together. Through Christ we pray. I do want to encourage you to continue to peruse the prayer list if you've not done that already. Several of you have now given me feedback on names that are, when I say they're names that are obsolete, I don't mean they've all died, but a couple of them have died. It's been a while, and we forget to keep that thing timely. So if you could give me any names of people that you feel like no longer need to be on that list, I'll update it. I have to chuckle. Last night the phone rang about probably 9:45, and I heard Jeannie laugh. It was Keith calling on a Saturday night at 9:45, and he asked Jeannie if I had done the newsletter yet. Now, he has known me for 40 years, and to think that he has to call and ask if I've got the newsletter done on Saturday night at 10 o'clock. But I did appreciate the updates. We got those. He was calling to give me some updates. He actually, I think, was intentionally. Sometimes he likes to play dumb. I do that too. Sometimes it's real, but sometimes he likes to play. That might have been one of those times. On a personal note, I'm happy that I can tell you all that Sydney is doing better. We went to Brian and Sherry's party last Sunday, thinking that Monday was going to be a grim day for us, that we'd have to put down our beloved hound. He's not really a hound, he's a feist. But anyway, a turn of events happened. It's rather strange how it all happened. And we walked in the last time, we thought at Howland Cemetery, and when I pulled out onto the road that evening, an older man, the road was a little bit wet. He locked up his brakes and swerved off the side of the road. It really wasn't my fault. I was already in my lane, and there was really no reason for him to even brake. But anyway, he hit a rail, and so Jeannie and I, as you should do, you turned around to see how he was. But we did have a police report coming. In the process of his insurance calling me, I talked to a lady that, and I told her, I said, I figured she could hear it in my voice. I said, I'm kind of sad today. We may have to put down my dog. And she told me about a vet not too far away, about 45 minutes away, and just really encouraged me to go. And we went, and within, by Wednesday evening, we had to go back to get special meds that they had delivered. In fact, they arrived at their office at 6 o'clock, and we wanted to get him. All blood work. Our vet was talking like We can do all this stuff, but I can almost tell you he's got either liver failure, kidney failure, cancer. He had none of that. He had an enlarged heart, and it can be cared for a while. Now, I'll tell you that, and he'll die next week. But we're encouraged. He's eating. He pooped twice yesterday, which is ridiculous. We went for like a week, and we got to be like, couldn't wait. I told Greg Flower on the phone, I said, it's ridiculous when you rejoice over your dog's number 2. But anyway, he's doing much better. He's not fully himself yet, but he wants to go for walks. He's very alert. He's even back to where he's standing on the armrest wanting to drive the car. So he's just about that. Anyway, enough about that, but I know a lot of you have been thinking about us because if you've ever lost a pet for a long time, that you've had for a long time, it's hard. Let me ask a question here. Why was Moses not allowed to enter the promised land? Stephen?
Because at some point in Numbers, he was supposed to speak to a rock and a water rock, and then he hit with a staff 3 times instead, or at least once. He didn't do what God told him to do.
Okay. All right, so Stephen's answer is, at one time, God told him to speak to the rock, but he smited the rock with his rod at least 3 times, or maybe 1 time. You're hedging your bets a little bit there. Actually, I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think it was 2 times. All right, anybody else want to add to this? Well, this has probably been one of the most, a little bit mystified inquiries, and we've not always done as great a job. Basically, I somewhere in my raising, I always understood essentially what Stephen said. And I think I've even mentioned that in sermons, that Moses smote the rock instead of speaking to the rock. It's a little bit more complicated than that. It's not that easily dissected. And if you look at our notes, you can see that, and I'm just giving you an excerpt, but you can read the whole text. In Exodus 17, which we looked at last Sunday, and we really didn't deal with this, I intended to roll it over to a kind of a prefatory story this morning for our study. Moses is told by God to strike the rock. God tells him, strike or smite the rock. And in fact, when you look at the Psalms make sense out of this. You might say, well, why did God tell him to smite the rock? Well, in the Psalms, it talks about, in Psalm 78, verse 15, it says that Moses split the rock. But that's still a little bit vague. What does that mean? Why would you want to split a rock? But then it also says that in Psalm 105 and verse 41, that he opened the rock by smiting the rock. And what makes it even clearer is in Psalm 114, verse 8, he smote the rock so that we might bring forth water for you. So evidently this was a place where in smiting the rock, it opened up some manner of stream of water, an artesian well, a fountain free. However, and so the smiting kind of goes with that. But back to our initial, in Exodus 17, verse 6, he's told to strike the rock. But in another text, in Numbers 20 and verse 8, Moses is told to speak to the rock. I think it very well could be both. That he's to speak to the rock and then do what God said and smite the rock. But in speaking to the rock, what we don't know because of the brevity of the text is that Moses may have been saying to them, when I strike this rock, by the power of Almighty Yahweh, by Jehovah God, water will flow forth. So when we look, and we'll just touch on this briefly and then move on, unless you have questions. Numbers chapter 20, let's look there just for a minute. Sometimes the events are so similar that we wonder if there are parallels or just there is similarity. All right, we'll begin at verse 8. Numbers 20 and verse 8. The Lord spoke to Moses, if you go back to 7, saying, "Take the rod, and you and your brother Aaron assemble the congregation and speak to the rock before their eyes, that it may yield its water." Now, the first question that comes from that first verse is, why did he tell him to take the rod? If the rod is not involved in the drama, why take your rod? He's told, take your rod and then speak to the rock. So we have both of them there. And he says, "You shall thus bring forth water from out of the rock, and let the congregation and their beasts drink." So Moses took the rod from before him, just as he had commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly before the rock. You see, there is drama here, and there's teaching and instruction. This is what we would call like a didactic moment, in that Moses and Aaron are there to emphasize this is God's doing. He said to them, "Listen now, you rebels. Shall we bring forth water for you out of this rock?" I'm not sure if Aaron's doing the speaking here, if it's Moses speaking on behalf of him and his brother, but he's angry. They're perturbed with these people, the children of Israel, for being so grumbly and so rebellious. And then they say, "Shall we bring forth water?" That, to me, is the sinfulness there. That they're saying, Moses and Aaron, we will bring forth water from the rock. Dick, you never sit over there. Okay. Just so long you don't have dementia. You know where you're at, and you've chosen that spot, right? Okay. He wants to get out of the draft.
Seeking heat.
Yeah. Seeking heat. He's trying to get by the sun. I don't know how you can become such a snowbird sissy.
I sound like my wife.
So, verse 11, Moses lifted up his hand and he struck the rock twice with his rod. Stephen, there we go, twice. And the congregation and their beasts drank. Okay, so it worked. Lifted up the rod, struck it twice, water flows forth. But verse 12, the Lord said to Moses, "Because you have not believed me, to treat me as holy in the sight of the sons of Israel, therefore you shall not bring them into the land which I have. You shall not bring this assembly into the land which I have given them." You're not going. You'll take them to the precipice, but you're not going to go. And we look at that text and we use it, and I think on a justifiable level, that God means what he says. And so when we look at a culture like ours today, I don't know if we've ever been this bad, with just saying, well, I don't think that matters to God. Well, when you read the Old Testament, God expects us to do what he says, and he knows what's best. So we can look at this and say, what's the big deal? Strike it one time, strike it two times. You mean because he struck it a second time? Maybe it was just a follow-up rap. Who knows? You know, it rebounded off the rocket. So we want to say, surely God wouldn't do that. Yeah, he did. But the emphasis here is maybe not just on striking it once, striking it twice, speaking to the rock, striking the rock. It may be a matter of irreverence. That Moses and Aaron, in the tumult of dealing with these people, got out of sorts and they did not approach God's authority in the right way. That to me seems more like a logical answer to this. Anybody have any comments, Gail?
That's what they're saying, Moses and Aaron were not in the promised land. Here is a warning to us that forgiveness of sin is not always carried with it mitigation of the consequences.
Okay, that's a good point too. Even though God's going to forgive Moses and Aaron, they don't go to the promised land, but I don't think we read that they're not in good standing with God. Read the book of Hebrews, and Moses is there in what we call the Hall of Fame. God is saluting Moses for his faith. But sometimes, even though God may forgive us, there's consequences to our behavior. So they're not allowed to go. And this is noted in the Pentateuch, the 5 books of Moses, as being the reason why God forbid them from going to the promised land. And it may seem picayune unless we study it carefully and come away from it. I think the real upshot of this whole story is God is holy. And you do not disrespect the holy God. If you do, you will pay for your penalty. Anybody else? Comments or questions? Okay, so now, Stephen, when we ask again, why was Moses not allowed to go to the promised land? It's not such an easy answer. We have to take a little bit of time, and sometimes we want quick answers, and they're not always black and white or real quickly received. We've got to study it now a little bit more. Anybody else? Any comments on that, Steve?
This has been building up here for a while too, in terms of the trouble the trouble between Aaron and Moses. Prior to this, Aaron and Miriam pretty much told Moses, "Hey, we want to be in charge too." And at that point, God was like, "Well, Moses is in charge. You guys just follow him." Miriam shortly, Aaron had the leprosy briefly, she was praying so cured, but she shortly died after that. But there's apparently a lot of tumult that's going on. It's building up. It's going at this point. It's just really starting to listen.
All right, that's a good.
Dies very shortly after this too, at least.
That's a good segue then to the next section, which is going to show us again some of the humanity on the part of these great leaders. We can look at Moses and Aaron and Miriam, and we can kind of elevate them or put them on a little pedestal and give them a hearty salute or an applaud for their leadership roles. But we can also see the warts in the cracks in the clay. We know that they're human and they have flaws like everybody else. So let's go to chapter 18 of Exodus, which is really our study today, and then we'll kind of zip through this. I hope we can cover this in about 10 minutes. Jethro is the father-in-law to Moses. Moses has married Jethro's daughter, Zipporah, and he has had a couple sons by her. And we're not told exactly, well, first of all, let's stay with Jethro just for a minute. Jethro is, he's Moses' father-in-law. What is his occupation, if we could say it that way? He's a priest. Priest of Midian, Gail adds, which is another way of saying he was a Gentile priest. We don't have any indication that he was of the household of Israel. He's kind of like Melchizedek. He's a Gentile priest, and you say, what is a Gentile priest coming into the house of Moses and telling him how to do things? Well, he's a Gentile priest, but he has great insight, and he's seeing things on behalf of God. Look at verses 10 and 11, if we could just jump forward for a minute here. I think that's what I would call his testimonial. Jethro says to this gathering, "Blessed be the Lord Moses has now rehearsed for him what God has been doing. And again, his father-in-law is a Gentile priest. But Jethro says, after hearing all the mighty miracles of Jehovah God for the children of Israel, leading them out of Egypt, he says, "Blessed be the Lord who delivered you from the hand of the Egyptians and from the hand of Pharaoh, and who delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know," Jethro says, "now I know that the Lord is greater than all the gods. Indeed, it was proven when they dealt proudly against the people." So then it follows up by saying, Jethro took a burnt offering and sacrifices for God, and Aaron came, and when I read that, the G in God is capitalized. He's not a Gentile priest offering a sacrifice to some heathen or a pagan god. He is offering a sacrifice to Jehovah God. And Aaron came with all the elders of Israel to eat, table fellowship. There's no way it could have been to anything but Jehovah God, or Israel and her elders would not have sat down at the table, at least not with God's approval. So they came together with Moses before God. And again, it's God with a capital G. So, again, we might ask the question behind the scenes, why wasn't Zipporah and the boys with Moses on the journey? Anybody have any comments there? Well, it wouldn't be unreasonable if you know your itinerary and what is to await you, that you might think it expedient to send your wife and sons to visit with their father to get them out of harm's way for a period of time. Anybody comments or questions there? You might say, well, that's not fair. Everybody else had to put up with it. Why didn't they? And weren't there great lessons to learn and messages to be witnessed from God? Yeah, there were. But this is the story. So Jethro brings Zipporah and the sons to visit with Moses, and he hears from Moses so many good things. He ends up making an offering, sacrificing it to God, has this meal together with Moses and Aaron and the elders. And then later on in the text, after Moses rehearses, and that's verses 7 through 10, Jethro, and there's a little audacity here maybe, you think, well, all that Moses has been doing, and then this Jethro, who's a Gentile priest on the outer orbit of all of this activity, he comes in and tells Moses what to do. Well, look at beginning around verse 13. It came about the next day that Moses sat down to judge the people. And the people stood about Moses from morning until evening. Now, when Moses' father-in-law saw all that he was doing for the people, he said, "What is this thing that you're doing for the people? Why do you alone sit as judge, and all the people stand about you from morning until evening?" And Moses said to his father-in-law, "Because the people come to me to inquire of God. When they have a dispute, it comes to me, and I judge between a man and his neighbor and make known the statutes of God and his laws." And Moses, his father-in-law, said to him, "The thing that you're doing is not good." You would say, wait a minute, what do you mean it's not good? I'm ministering to the people, Moses would say. I'm trying to remedy wrongs and show leadership and teach them what God said. Well, verse 18, he said, Jethro said to Moses, "You're going to wear yourself out, both yourself and these people who are with you, for the task is too heavy for you. You can't do it alone." So here in this wonderful text, we find one of the most practical pieces of advice that has ever echoed in within the walls of our churches, or really any kind of a leadership environment. This has to be one of the hardest things to learn. And why do you think that's so? To delegate. For you as a leader to look out among others and say, I think they can help do this and that, and spread the word around. Well, why do you think delegating is so hard? Well, Gail's being a cynic here because people don't want to give up control. That's a big part of it. We see that a lot of times. Somebody's in power and they're not about to let a little bit of it slip away. So they want to stay in power and they want to micromanage in every way. Why else might delegating be so hard?
They don't do it the way you do it.
Say it again, Trudy.
They don't do it the way you want it done.
Okay, that is spoken really well from Trudy. They don't do it the way you might want to do it. We had the Sunday night Songs of Light, and Trudy was in the foyer, and she said, Terry, how do you want me to set up tables for the pizza? And I said, I don't care. I don't know how to, however y'all want to set them up. She said, well, Brenda says I'm too bossy, so how do you want me to set them up? And I said, well, Brenda's not here, so you just boss away. Well, again, I've found that same thing true. Trudy, having directed camp for 30 years, it's real easy for me to look over Brazel sometimes and say, we've never done it that way. We don't do it that way. I don't. I try to bite my tongue every once in a while. I have to joke with him a little bit about it. So yeah, sometimes we maybe it's because we want to micromanage, or maybe because we're really comfortable and that's the way we've always done it. What else, Ben?
You want to make sure something gets done.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can do it better than they can do it. That's one of the greatest challenges to delegating, to not delegating. You sit there thinking, I know somebody who could help with this, but I can do it better than they can do it. I can get it done a lot faster. But yet in making that decision, we may be hurting the church a great deal. Because people have to learn. And sometimes one of the greatest lessons is, hey, we gave you an assignment and you didn't do it. Or we gave you an assignment and you didn't get with it. So just like parenting with children, we have to learn sometimes from our failures. What else? And I don't want to belabor this point, but there's a lot here. Why don't we delegate? We find the same thing in the early days of the establishment of the church. All of a sudden, it dawns on the 12 apostles, what are we doing waiting on tables? And this is not a high-minded, this is not an uppity thought, that we're too big, we're apostles. We don't belong waiting on tables. It's not from that vantage point, but they've got so much to do in terms of instruction and other things that they finally, it dawns on them, and God is guiding them to appoint others to help, to serve the Grecian widows, the Hellenistic widows of the church. So delegation is much needed, and it's a wonderful thing, and that's God's way. And here we find that Jethro comes on the scene, and he has what we think is the spunk to tell Moses, what you're doing is not good. Number one, you're going to wear yourself out, and then what good will you be to the people? And then number two, God, let other people help you. And it's not just throw the dice and see who shows up. If you see, he's told to look out and choose men who fear God, verse 21, men of truth, those who hate dishonest gain. And so here we find then Jethro advising Moses to get under judges, get appoint others. In fact, they really break it down. Is it 10s, 100s? They can judge people in groups of 10, groups of 100. There's some other number in there besides 1,000. 50. And what we have here, as I say in the notes, actually I think served as the template for the way our Judeo-Christian judicial system is set up in our nation. You know, we have a Supreme Court, but then we have lots of smaller court rulings, and it starts out with the smaller ones, and then if it really is troubling, it keeps moving up through the court system to finally when it reaches the highest level. So rather than Moses dealing with all of these, he's told set some others up who can help you do this work. All right, anybody comments or questions? We got it quick. Keith.
Did you talk about Jethro's sons yet, Gershom and Eleazar? Did they have anything to do?
Moses' sons?
No, Jethro's sons.
I thought those were Moses' sons.
Go ahead. All right.
Yeah, I think, now, what about Jethro's granny? Beverly Hillbillies there in the connection.
You know, Terry, sometimes you have someone in charge, and other people would rather have someone else in charge than be in charge themselves.
Yeah, it's real easy to let George do it. But that's kind of, again, we give people a cop-out. When there's work that needs to be done, and we don't draft them, or we don't sit down and say, you could really do this well. And we don't have to, again, I'm not trying to set myself up as a paragon of virtue on this matter, but in the past, when we directed camp, we would come to somebody and I would say, this assignment is yours. Let's just make up. I would say, okay, look, Chris, you're in charge of campfires at night. Now, Chris could look at me and say, what do you mean? I got to go truck all that wood and I light the fire and I find the stuff to spark it. I would tell him, I don't care how you get it done. I don't care if you get 10 kids to bring one log each. You just get it done. When it comes time to campfire at night, and it rolls around and it's 9 o'clock, I expect the campfire will be lit and everything will be hunky-dory, and we'll begin our devotion. So give them a job, and then explain to them what your expectations are, and then let them run with it. You know, that's part of what we're talking about here. And that seems like such an easy thing to do, but that's one area where we have all failed miserably at times. Don, last word.
Was this the beginning of the eldership for churches, or?
Well, I don't know if you'd say it's the beginning of eldership, but we certainly get a hint, even with Moses' place in God's, Moses and Aaron, that there's already a group of elders, and that seems to be almost built into the system. Even when Moses is going back to the Egyptians after he's fled, he goes back and he talks to the elders of Israel about the burning bush and how God is calling him to do this. So even when Israel are slaves in Egypt, they've already got elders. And whether that's just the communal leaders of the village or leaders of the nation, don't ask me how they're chosen or how they're appointed.
I know all that. They already had elders, but is this where they started? Because of this, that we use the elders and deacons in the church today?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that would be, I guess you could see some logical connection there. That leaders need help. It seems to me almost like it's not an evolution of a preacher saying, hey, I might need elders and deacons. It seems as we read the scriptures that it's kind of it's not an afterthought on Word of God. It's kind of God's plan to have elders and deacons and preachers. All right, we have to quit. Thank you.